Hello, we're here in our New Life series, educational series with Dr. Michael Laitman. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Dr. Laitman. Hello, Nitza Mazuz. Hello, everyone. Here we're talking about communications lately, and our discussion is about mass communications today. We want to learn from Rav Laitman how, according to his approach that he's opening to us show after show, we can each take our lives to a better place. And up till now, we spoke about mass communication, giving us a perspective of the world, values that we use when we're in front of the screen, not in front of the screen, in our life in general. It gives us a direction, ideas, etc. And you explained before that there's a goal, there's a process that we as humanity go through, and its goal is to connect us, to transform society to this round humanity, harmony, warmth. And I think everybody identifies with this and would like to live in a place like this. There's a lot of rejection. A lot of people are against this because if you take, I need a few minutes for this, please. If we take the capitalistic approach, the regular one, there's an approach that this type of consumption society can go on in an infinite manner. There's no limit. And this is how they developed, and they signed that a never-ending process. And that is what they thought that would be. And this is not unlike Marx, who said there is a limit because we're all limited. We're all limited in natural resources, development of man, etc. And sooner or later, this consumption society will finish itself off, and instead of it, you'll get the collaborative society. It's not simple. We're going through here a transition, you can say ideological, psychological. It's a very big transition because there are people that don't accept these changes, like enslavement in the Middle Ages and capitalism and socialism, even communism even, of course, because it proved that it doesn't bring to anything good. But it wasn't socialism and communism like Marx was talking about. It was just, they just took some cover with the pretty words, but inside it was the complete opposite. We're talking here also because it was in a society that wasn't prepared. They didn't change man, but they made man into something that Russia wanted to do, the government wanted to do. It was depression instead of education. And therefore, it was used in a bad way, the whole ideology of Marx. But he was correct. And now they're coming back to him, and they're starting to learn him again. The human nature has to go through this entire process because this is the law of nature that has to bring us to the correct communication, and the media really has to be for connecting us and not just being called like that, as a medium for connecting us. We're learning from you this integral approach. I'm going to the dictionary because when you talk about the consumption society, you're talking about that society is training me to consume more and more to be happier, and then I'm being brainwashed by the media, advertisements, etc. Consume and you'll be happier. They're saying your consumption is individualistic, and that to succeed you need to step on everyone, then you'll promise your place, and you have to tread on everyone. We'll find a good connection so nobody will have to step on everyone, but we all develop. Each one, the more they make, the more they succeed. What does the American approach say? if whoever's successful, he deserves it and should be proud of it. I succeeded. But I succeeded because of my effort. Of course, I used what I got from nature, and I have rich parents and everything, but I did it. And do you see something negative or positive? It's not negative or positive. It's a period of development that we had to go through. But afterwards, nature is developing us and changes our desire, that our desire for consumption suddenly falls. How do you connect between these two things? I understand there was an era of personal success. Invest, that's the American model, and you say it no longer fulfills us because we're changing inside. We want to succeed in something else. I don't see myself as succeeding by buying and acquiring. So this is where the consumption thing comes into play. Yes, I don't feel like I'm filling my desire. So personal consumption doesn't give me satisfaction. It becomes more valuable. I stopped feeling in it, filling. That I identify with completely. It started the flower kids and everything, the flower people, you know, those movements in the 60s. So where is the happiness if it's not in overconsumption? We're still now, the crisis that we're feeling today, it's not just economy or education or family. It's inside a person. What's broke? The previous consumption approach, that I don't see in it any filling. Is there something above this consumptionism? It no longer fulfills me. I feel like I'm being played. I feel like I bought a computer. A few years later, it's broken. They make it on purpose that I have to buy again. Like I'm working for someone. I'm somebody's slave. They're bringing me all kinds of toys and stuff, and they're brainwashing me. All kinds of food and everything. I have to work on that all the time to fill somebody else's pocket. And in the end, he's not happy either. But he has to fill his bank account. And is there an end to it? They thought there's no end to it, that they thought the man's ego would develop and develop throughout thousands of years. And then we develop in such a way till the end of time. Yes, everyone will have their own plane. That's what we thought. But we've reached a peak. Americans thought that we'd reach a state where everyone would have a car and an apartment, so why not? What's wrong? Our desire has changed. Our desire inside has changed. Not that they don't want. Nature is changing us. We're developing inside through nature. We're kids of nature. Because nature inside has a plan that's changing the desire inside of us, the type of desire. I suddenly start to feel that in consumption, I'm not filling myself. People are getting desperate in what countries? In countries that have everything. And continue and buy, and I don't feel like it. I want to smoke something and calm down. I don't want these things. Why have a home, get a wife, kids, vacation? I don't want it. Why don't you want anything? The non-developed, egoistic person asks to the person who started in developing in the new direction. He says, I don't want. My desire has changed, and I don't feel any pleasure from it. So now we're in a transition where people no longer know. Is it that integralness you're talking about? This is the crisis. The crisis is an economy. It's not family, and not technology or finances, not education. The crisis is how we grasp the world. What's the significance of life? What's the meaning of life? That's what a person is asking. My reality used to be my home, my family, and I used to develop according to how my life is arranged at home. And then came the capitalistic method. The more to give everyone the opportunity to develop so that everyone will earn as much as they're capable of, to help people toward that, educate them. We haven't really realized it, and we already have a new deficiency, a new lacking. People don't want that anymore, but what do they want? They don't know. We see that we're searching. There's parts of humanity that are searching in a fanatic way, like the Muslims that are getting up and uniting, or China that wants to get up, that wants to control its own ideology, even though it has its inner crisis. America has an ideological crisis. They can't suggest to the world something inside they're starting to break up. Their success, their money, it's starting to, they need it, but we need to differentiate between a person who is an animal. He's at the animal level. He has to supply himself with conditions, convenient conditions for life. If there's no bread, I can't think about anything onward. First of all, I have to fill my animal. I have to be comfortable, an apartment, work, all those things, minimal, but nothing else. Because if I start reaching something, I already start thinking, what? And it loses taste. So what do you mean minimal? It means we're advancing towards a state where after filling my basic needs, food, family, home, money, honor, and intelligence don't interest me so much. You said before consumption, things that I need, a house, a car, health, education, food, sex, and family. All the things that we need at the animal level, that we need to live, that I have to have. There's no compromise in that. That's not what you're talking about. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the needs above that. A higher satisfaction that I get by over-consuming, and at the end of the day, I still feel empty? Yes. So what do you do with that? First, there was a period where I thought I would do more and more. I'm from a moshav, from a settlement. I call it a golden funeral place, that everyone in the field builds themselves a nicer castle than yours, and the next person who builds a castle, she'll make an even nicer castle, because who are you after all? How did you come out so useless in life? And inside the castle, not everyone's happy, to make a long story short. And then it goes on. They're less and less happy. Each and every year, they're definitely less happy. And what can they fill themselves with? That's the question. A person cannot identify it yet. And now we're consuming the mass communications also. We're hoping that at least the movie will make me feel better, and that even a person doesn't fill himself with this media either, but there's no choice. But what will he fill himself with? That's it. So what's left? We have what left to do, or to go to all kinds of eruptions, wars, revolutions, I don't know what. Or if not revolutions like this, some other type of search. Also, those wars and revolutions, it's all searching. They're searching, they don't know. They're searching for filling. What they're searching for, we understand. What do you suggest? What's the new thing? You're saying there's some evolutionary development. What they don't want, I think we understand really well. Just more and more and more and more and more. That's already, it's over. We got it. Is there something beyond that? What? Is to learn from nature where nature is pulling us, pushing us. And nature, there's lots of research about it. Nature is pushing us to the correct connection. The correct connection that will start to feel the connection between us. We'll start to feel satisfaction in the connection between us. And this is how our deficiencies are being developed. This is the integral approach instead of the individualistic approach. Yes, people are going out to the streets because they're happy together. They're going out to the streets because they feel one another. They need this connection. They need this inner connection between them because nature is forcing them toward this new deficiency. So if I get it, this is a summary of your vision, where humanity is developing toward, that people will, that happiness that is slipping between our fingers, there's no such thing. It's only between people. Only between people you'll have the next development. That's where I'll find myself, in the good connection between people, in the correct communication between people. And here we're reaching, and then our media must teach, must educate humanity how to connect properly with one another to reach satisfaction that is now developing in them. So this is the definition of a new target for mass communications and in general, and as a means for taking us forward to something new, to a new breakthrough. So the goal in the era that we're heading into, let's say the integral era, is to advance the perspective of each person toward locating the satisfaction actually in new types of qualitative, positive connections between us. How do we do this? And that's where I want us to take the discussion. How do we actually do it? Let's say we understood this concept, and now we want to break it down. We're going to concentrate on the standard medium, the television. We have news. We spoke a bit about reality shows in the last discussion. There's comedy shows that you like watching. There's good movies. There's investigative reporting. How can we take each of these subjects, sections? On the one hand, it will also be something that will be happy to watch. I open TV to enjoy at the end of the day. I have to work, the kid has to go to school, but TV I choose. There's an unlimited amount of options. People enjoy watching reality where there's interactions, very extreme negative interactions between people, because that's how we are. We're animals. What can we come and shape something new that on the one hand, it'll be fun to watch, and on the other hand, it'll develop and direct me, it'll help me in this inner search toward the new place? That's the question, I think. Let's say news. Let's start with news. The driest thing in the world. Let's start with news. If I have in my hand media, the integral channel. If we're talking about a certain channel, we're going into a niche. I don't want to go into a niche. I want to be in mainstream, all the channels. What will they see in the news to develop in a person? We are a committee that determines the programs in all the TV shows in the world. Now we want to give guidelines so that they will be able to come later and develop the materials, the programming, let's say the news. You need to bring news, but afterwards, it depends how you bring them, what educational value they have, what do you want to achieve. That people just hit each other, or there's something happened in nature, some tsunami or some hurricane or something, some accident, or did somebody steal or kill? You need to show in that the benefit that can be from what you're showing. It can't just be information. There's a goal of bringing the information, and then you're saying there's the analysis. You're saying the interesting analysis is what's valuable. I think anyone where there's an interesting opinion, they can analyze things. So that's what we were talking about, that layer. There's information itself, but it's more important, the next layer, alongside it. It depends how you shape things, how you show it. It doesn't have to be, here there's information and then some show. How should it be? The whole approach. Can you give me an example how a certain news item will be presented in a non-integral manner? And the same news piece, news item, will be treated completely different in the integral channel. We can see it now. They're showing me that someone killed someone, so you need to show how people are suffering from it. The neighbors that don't understand what's happening, why it's happening, and maybe it's like this, maybe it's like this. You show the entire environment, how much they're suffering. Why did they bring them here? Talk to people. Why did it happen, etc. You're so-called interviewing people around that, and from that you can already bring the approach, and you're teaching a person how to look at something. Somebody killed someone. Why? For what purpose? What's happening? What's the damage? What's the social damage in the family, etc.? It all depends on how you shape the information, especially since today you're using visuals. The relation between them, which way they speak about it. You're leaving a very strong impression on people. I still don't understand the basic concept, how you'll make this process integral, because I don't understand the new foundation, the new concept you're talking about. I know today they're doing part of the things you said, of course, but not in a directed way. What do I want at the end of the day from a person viewing? What impression do I want him to come away with? What's the lesson? What will remain with him in his memory? What am I putting in there? What relation to an act, to the result? What does he need to be careful? What does he need to watch out for? What he knows to develop? Everything, there's a very big educational value in everything toward him, his family, work, his kids, etc. So what's the answer? What impression do I want him to come away with? The viewer? That being good to others gives him another level of life, a different standard of life, sorry. Can you apply that to everything that's happening in the world? Let's take a group that from the beginning is saying, we don't care if we win or lose, whether we win or lose, based on the connection between us. We want to enjoy the game. Compared to those playing by themselves, To say, I want to make the goal myself and not somebody else. The conflicts between the team, and then they'll take him on his arms, and another group won't. We're proud that we're together. We come to the field together, we hug. Our success is that we feel each other. We enjoy being together. That's our success. And we want you to see that that can be the higher value than just throwing the ball. When you say you mean the viewers? Yes. They need to convey to the viewers? Yes, they're educating the viewers. The football team, yes. Let's make a game between the groups. Which group is more connected than the other groups? That's how we'll measure success, not the goals. But they need to discuss it. They have to convince themselves that it's worth it, because the extent that each one is thinking about the other, I'm living the game in a different way. I look at it in different glasses. They're only thinking about their points. Why am I saying sure? Because I just remembered when I was little, when I was in a football group, we were playing against another team. Look at his face right now, right away. We had a game on the Moshav, and a group of kids came from. We were a really good group. And they came, and I felt that Martians had come from another planet. They were so connected. The collaboration between them, it was like they were transparent. We were like, there were 5 of them, and you can't even see them. I felt like a storm. It was like something that was like wrapping you. We lost like 13-1, some crazy score. I was like a pretty good player, and I didn't even understand what was going on. It was like some superhuman thing had descended on us. If you were a viewer, you would have seen that between them, you could see the ref saying to them, the coach, I felt they had like a different language, maybe because they were from a different kind of settlement. I don't know, truly. Until today, I don't know how many years went by, I have an impression that each one was really good, but they weren't great players. They were friends. I want to complete this story. You were there now. You once recommended that if a person is watching football, go sit with him. There was Barcelona playing. I asked my husband, who used to also play football, and I said, how do they become a good team? And he said, look, they're always working together. He shows me how they work together. I don't understand football, but I could see that they really create like a field that you can't, they have like a flow, harmony. There's harmony that really makes them factually the best team in the world. Okay, so let's say, if we're going to summarize this thing about football, otherwise they wouldn't make money, they wouldn't succeed, of course. So what's the added value? The educational added value that they would talk about it. They would show how together they are. They would show how together they can do it, that the connection between them gives them satisfaction before the game, during the game, after the game, the extent that they have negative or positive feelings. We succeeded, we didn't succeed. The success would only be about the connection between them. That is a very high educational value. So you're saying before the game, I go into a broadcast, let's say there's a live broadcast, say there's a big football game, and that's what most of the population watches. It has very high ratings. You want them to talk about that before, during, and after the game. It's as if you want to add to this very highly public event, highly publicized event. I want during the game that I'm sitting and watching, like she said, that they will tell me, they will talk about it, they will teach me, just like her husband taught her, how they're working together, how their plan, how they each feel each other. That's why they succeed. The value of connection in a group. And that will be their experience. With that feeling, they will go out, whether we succeeded or not, in being more connected than the group across from us. What do you mean more? More connected. The competition is in connection and not the number of balls. How is it measured? In the people's feeling? You're showing me like a ruler. People who are viewing, they're the ones that need to determine it. That's the most advanced things on TV, you're saying, that the people vote, that it's interactive. They press something, yes? Yes, there's lots of competitions where you view it and you choose. Very high participation of viewers. But you choose according to what? Which group was more connected, more harmonious, more friendliness between the players in their desire. And this is how I develop my desire, how I absorb things, my ability to see connection, to identify me as the viewer. Yes, of course, because this is how I choose. Your question is, it made me put on new glasses, other ones. If before I was looking at goals, now I'm looking more where there's connection. It depends where I put my focus. Yes, of course. So it's a directing question. You know what you go through educationally when you watch this game? For you, it becomes really a very, very powerful workshop. In each football game, there's the broadcast itself and there's the commentators. The commentators, that's what I'm talking about. Why did they make the goal or not as a result of lack of connection, that one didn't understand the other, etc.? There's two groups here. And only in the connection between them, one succeeds over the other. Of course, there's this and that many goals. But the result has to be emotional. From what kind of connection do I enjoy more? And maybe I don't determine anything, who loses, who wins. Like after a movie, I enjoy some experience that I went through, and here as well. I always thought, why aren't they connecting more like this or better like this? And where's the lack of harmony? The viewer, yes, the viewer. The commentator, he's only talking about connection now. Look how much they're connected and they're not connected. They are. He's trying to, and he doesn't understand him. Everything is toward connection, the language of connection. What about the fans? The fans as well.
You don't erase all these things from a person, that he loves a special group and so on, but you specifically use his sympathy for him to be integrated with what's going on, for him to be happy or regretful about there being unity in his favorite group or not. Only his. And he'll see that there was a better connection. It doesn't matter. Competition isn't erased. No? No. And Balasulami writes about that too. That's why I ask about the fans. What happens with the fans? Because viewers, it's like neutral. Envy, lust, and honor bring a person out of this world. So there is competition. And what a competition. Over what? Over the quality of connection between inside the group. Which group is better united? And it's true that maybe you brought a group of experts compared to a group of children, and maybe they succeeded, but these succeeded in uniting. They deserve to be honored more. So they're like kids that don't succeed next to the grown-ups, but they succeed in terms of being more qualitative than those grown-ups. Qualitative how? Qualitative in the unity, in their connection. It's a commando unit, it's a group, not just a few special individuals that their professionality is in their legs and not in their hearts. Usually, before the players get on the field and they're interviewed, also during the pause, it's a show. Yeah, I want to develop that show. Up till now, we talked about the viewers, the commentators. Let's talk about the players themselves. They have to show unity, that they're playing unity in the game. Yes, I'm talking about how it's the envelope. Before the game, during the game, after the game, it's a custom to interview the players. That the whole game is a game between two experts in unity. The one group that through their unification around the ball, around whatever, and the other group around the ball. How the group and the unity between them can keep the ball. To bring every person in the right place in order to get the ball. That's the communication between them, and to achieve the goal. The goal is shooting a goal, right? But coming from unity. People come to the stadium to see the game too. It's not simply so that you can say, we'll give one commando team to shoot 5 goals, and let's see what happens, and the other team, they want to see the struggle, they want to see the competition, but the competition should truly be on the level of unity. And to show the result of unity on the one hand, and shooting the goal. What about the rival groups? Now, just in Egypt, we had an example. A few dozens of people were killed. So I'm looking at it as an event, a mass mass communications event, and sports is one of those central events that truly form culture and so on. And we see that it brings us to the edge of the previous perception. It really connects to the switch, the flip in the perception, like we talked about. You're talking about the world of self-success and success through unity, mutuality. So the game in Egypt shows the end of the previous perception where a football game becomes into a bloody war. And the money paid and the bribery. But I'm talking about a man's inner aspirations, like you said in the beginning of the discussion, where he hopes to get. Where does he want to get it? Only here, and may everything else, only for me and everything else burn, or here in between us? Sure, between us. So, in this new attitude, I wanted to understand what happens. Competition will not disappear. Here I have a team of experts in unity, here a team of experts in unity. So where's the competition? Each one is in competition with his friend in the same group. There's competition between them? Yes. Competition in unity. How much am I useful for the group, how much I can nullify myself toward the group. That's called a star in the new definition? Yes. Not how conspicuous I am, but in how conspicuous am I in nullifying myself toward the group. How I am in the right place, in my right place, regardless of what role I play in the group. Okay, what about that groups are rivals and, oh, we compete on who's more respectable. You are from group A, she's from group B. Is there hatred between you? But why do I give the example of Egypt? Because it really takes it to the radical. Here there can't be hatred because to begin with we're in different current, a current of unity between us. And in that current, it can't be in hatred toward others. It can only be as a competition between experts, a competition in beauty of how united and connected we are. Up to the point where it doesn't really matter how many balls, how many goals were shot, but the harmony that takes place between us, the unity between us, that's more important. That's called an expert, that he enjoys the process itself. He enjoys the battle that he's in.
Okay.
It's like a person who is an expert in making a table. He enjoys the work itself. The money that he's paid is because he has to live somehow, but he enjoys the creation. Let's look at the role of the trainer. The trainer he's an educator, sure, he's an educator. Meaning he actually has to make his group into a single body to know how to play as if there's one person playing on the field. One kli, yes? One vessel. How does he do it? He has to be a special person. Are there principles that can guide such a trainer? What should he put an emphasis on? How to teach a group to operate together? A person has to be truly advanced, to be an integral person. Then you'll have an inner sense how to do it, bit by bit. But again, we're not talking on a spiritual level or something, but in the cooperation, mutuality between people where they understand. With this understanding of mutuality, I still don't get the rivalry between the groups, because usually when there's a rivalry, I wish for my opponent to fail. Now, we're here where the model is of mutual success. What do the fans of one group wish for the fans of the other group? A great game. I want to succeed in the beauty of the unity and connection between us inside our group. What do you wish for the other group? I wish them to show their beauty, but first to succeed. So what? The competition stays. Only it's a competition in something else. We enjoy, the result doesn't matter. We enjoy the process itself. If you will not perform before me in a nice kind of connection, unification, how will I show that I am connected nicely? By this, we create some kind of a harmony between the groups, because I can't show my harmony without you showing your harmony, and without us seeing the harmony between us. There can't be black without white. There can't be one group without the other. And the mutuality that's born between us is the cooperation of beauty, how unity and the integration of the one with the integration of the other can be in resistance toward one another, can be in understanding with each other and unite with one another. That I do not give you the ball to play. By this, I'm in touch with you. And this touch, if it is the connection between experts in integrality, it is a special game. It is not a negative game. Why? Because without this negativity between us, without the competition, where I do not let you play ball and I want only us to play with the ball and not for you, by this you help me show the harmony between my players. We help each other to point out the unity, the connection. When you talked about it, it looks like you play some kind of a computer game and it's a higher level, a higher challenge. Yes. But in games, the greater the challenge, the more the fun. Otherwise, you become, it gets boring. Okay, I want to ask about one more thing. Do we want to add anything else to this with respect to sports, which is truly a central media event? We can develop it, but let's move on. Okay, one more genre on television, which is very special, and I don't exactly understand. How is it possible to shift it into a new perception, into the new worldview, where the good is in the connection between us and not in each one per se, where we have different shows which are satiric shows that when we make fun of some phenomena or someone else, if you laugh at someone else and not me, then it's okay. If you make laugh at me, it's not so fun. And if you make fun of my child at school, I want to kill you. So we like laughing, but if someone's laughing at you, it's a problem. When we make fun of someone, I think that it all depends on the intention. What is the use? What is the benefit? And what do we lose? If to begin with, I know that that you're making fun of me is useful, beneficial for me, then I'm together with you on it. I love you as a result. I accept it as a remedy, as a doctor that finds an illness in me. What does it mean to laugh at me? That we laugh at someone's flaws. You mean someone's weaknesses? Someone's illnesses. I don't know if it's an illness. There are weaknesses that you know that a born is born with. Doesn't matter. But it's a flaw, like an illness. It's a minus in me. Could be something more or less of an illness, that if it's in my animalistic body, I go to the doctors. If it's in my feelings, I go to a psychologist. I'm interested for all of my flaws to be found and to get a remedy for it. The psychologist, he tells me, you also take this medicine, and besides, do this and that, it'll help you and you'll be healthier. The doctor says, also take this and that medicine, you'll be healthier in body. The satire, if it comes in order to show me my flaws, and along with it, it is clear that it comes in the good and nice way in order to aim myself correctly at a good and nice attitude even toward these flaws, and also to the ability of society to help me in them, then I'm happy about it. People pay doctors plenty of money for it, for this diagnosis, not even for the healing part. Only that the satire, it has to be constructive and not one that destroys a person. We usually like destroying people. So it all depends on the educational value that there is. You can do plenty of positive things here. Such shows that, what you can develop. A person likes also laughing about himself, about his own nature, only that this laughter, for it to be a pleasant laughter, that's how we all are in our weakness, that this is how we are as people, and also part of them. Sorrow shared as a sorrow halved. So I don't accept it as something personal, and even were I to accept it, to see it as something personal, it depends on what way does it come. A person has to have a preparation in him and the right form of the one who does it, and then he'll laugh, a good kind of laughter, a friendly kind of laughter. And also he'll know what is expected to do. That all in all, a person that shows him some flaw, he wants a deeper connection with him. And this stands in his way of connecting to the other. I want to love you, only that I can't get close to you because you're constantly eating garlic. Suppose, an example, suppose. So I make fun of your habit of eating garlic and that I can't come and kiss you. So, I laugh both about my weakness and your weakness and the lack of connection because of some foolish detail. And I laugh about that. It is clear to us that there's a reason and a good goal for both of us. And that there is nothing that we don't want to bring any of us down. You have to be an expert in this. But we want to bring ourselves to a higher level of connection, of unity. In satire, you can do plenty of things. Satire, it's called that we point out negative things that is possible to correct. What we can't correct, we don't show, because if we still don't have the ability to correct it, then you don't do it, because it says you don't put an obstacle before a blind person. It's forbidden. But things that are relatively easily in the right situation, a person can transcend them and reach a better connection to everyone. That's the only thing that we show. That's called educate the youth according to his ways. How do you make it so that, on the one hand, there will not be felt an insult, and on the other hand, there is a satire show. How do millions will watch? How do you make sure the purpose of the show, if I understand correctly, the purpose of the integral connection is to constantly develop a person's awareness that the good is between people and not through self-acquisition. So how, if you allow yourself to come out with a satire show, how do you make sure that they perceive your frequency, the audience, and don't interpret it differently, and then you're actually you lose where you wanted to do good? That depends on the preparation. First of all, it's something that is a phenomenon for the masses. Not that you're the only one unique in the world that has this phenomenon. First of all, we make fun of this general phenomenon. You're pushed to say, yes, this is how I am. And then you start studying this phenomenon in a humoristic way on you, and a bit stinging a bit, and you're participating in it, and you're willing to show these weaknesses, but it's clear that we don't hurt a person, but we make fun of our nature. That's how it is. There are plenty of programs and shows like this that everything's actually built on the weakness of people, weaknesses of people, because without having something here and something lacking there, you have nothing to talk about, no place to connect. Today, there are satire shows I try to recall. There are shows that really show interactions between a married couple or inside a family with the spouses and their parents and so on. Yeah. So people, they can accept it because that's how I am too. Okay, they identify with it, but how does it change them? It's lacking in the message. It's lacking on the show. If we're talking about the integral education, we have to bring in the educational value. Did you get it? No. That's what she's asking. How do you make a satire that is propelling? I asked, how do you make it sure that it won't harm? But Nitsa is asking differently. You won't show something that won't propel integral awareness. What does a person have to see there? He has to see benefit. Benefit as a result of correcting what the satire shows in him. I don't get it. Just 1 second, I'll repeat the question. What is the criterion so that a satire show is good? Because it propels integral awareness. They'll offer you 2 shows. How do you decide which? If everyone agrees that this phenomenon in people is negative because it doesn't bring us closer, it doesn't unite or connect us, and therefore it is negative. And that's why it's negative. That's it. What turns a satire into successful today is that I can identify with it. I can identify it's nice, I laugh, I turned off the TV, nothing changed. I didn't change. No, so here you have to see the good result. Okay, so there has to be another element, an educational element, how if a person changes these things through another, through society, inside himself, and so on, how does he reach a state that prevents him from many problems? Meaning he maybe offers me also some kinds of solutions. It has to form the show, but of course, besides all of us laughing nicely, including him, we also have to show how we skip over this problem and how then we feel ourselves. What a real honeymoon it is. Okay, our time is up, but in a sentence, how do you see using mass media to develop integral awareness? First of all, the people who understand this have to lead it. Otherwise, it won't work. Let's hope that we'll at least make our channel into an integral education channel in different nice ways. Satire, humor. Soccer is a bit of a problem. I don't know. Maybe. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Laitman. Thank you very much, Nitsa Mazos. Thank you for being with us. Till next time, all the best.
וכמובן יש לנו